All right, so the live stream is preparing right now, and I am going to get us started. So, Melissa, thanks for joining us today. So for everyone who's joining us, this is another episode of Venture Cafe Live, where we want to make sure that we're highlighting the different programs, entrepreneurs, startups, and different opportunities, initiatives that are happening in the area that are looking to move forward the startup ecosystem and St. Louis and improve the area and region. So we're happy to discuss some of the topics around what ITEN has been doing recently and to help entrepreneurs and get started. So, you know, for all of you who've joined us before, we're going to do a bit of Q&A with our guest, and then we'll take the live stream off and go to any Q&A with private Q&A after that live stream with those who decide to join us in the Zoom call. So anyways, without further ado, I want to thank Melissa for joining us from ITEN. She's the Director of Entrepreneurship here at ITEN. And I'm going to kick things off, share a little bit more about, Melissa, about what ITEN does for those who maybe aren't familiar.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me this afternoon, Tyler. I'm excited to share about ITEN in general and specifically about our new program, the Eureka Experience. So ITEN is going almost on 13 years. It'll be 13 years next spring. So been around for quite a while here in the St. Louis region, working with tech startups, and recently became a part of Lindenwood University this summer. And so excited about the potential that brings to continue to serve our community entrepreneurs, but also get the student engagement, get the academic engagement, and so that really working through a lot of different ideas for that. So, and they were also very instrumental in helping us to get Eureka Experience off the ground. And so we have, I think a lot of people know ITEN for our wonderful mentors. We have about 60 volunteer mentors that help all of our companies, and you can join ITEN and get access to those, get access to our events and our programs. And then we've just recently this fall launched the Eureka Experience, and this is a really a great addition, I think, to what we can offer and how we can help serve those really early stage entrepreneurs. So the Eureka Experience is a program designed to take founders from idea stage all the way through to that early product market fit in two components. And underneath the whole thing is the Leanstack series of tools and curriculum. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Leanstack, might be more familiar with the term Lean Canvas, which is, you know, Ash Maurya's tweaking of the business model canvas, a very common tool for early stage startups. And now there's an entire platform with a lot of tools and a lot of curriculum built around it. So we use that as the foundation of the Eureka Experience, and then build the ITEN network and the ITEN benefits around it. And so today we're opening applications for Eureka validation. Some people might have been here in October. We talked about the Eureka ideation, the first component that we launched, and we had about 30 startups that signed up for that and are just now finishing up their 8 weeks. And they've been working on their Lean Canvas and another tool called the Traction Roadmap, and really drilling down into getting from idea stage to problem solution fit. And so validation then allows people that, you know, the 10 startups that we'll be selecting from this application process will then really take those tools they did in ideation or that they completed as part of their application. So you don't have to have done ideation to do validation. We'll help you in the application process get that done. They'll really take those assumptions and test them out through really strong customer discovery process and yeah, just for a 12-week period of time that helps them build that traction and confirms that product market fit, make sure that they're not going down paths that are not going to be a good use of time and resources and stuff. So
yeah, that's great. So just to make sure I was clear there, so you said they don't have to come in with a solid idea. This program would actually help kind of flesh out the idea a little bit more. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So on ideation, so you don't have to have done ideation to apply for validation. I think some of our companies were already a little further along, and they're like, I got this first part, I'm waiting for validation. But you still have to build your lean canvas and some other tools. And that's what the application prep environment will allow you to when you go to start your application. But the ideation piece, and we will be offering that again too. Both of these programs will repeat. So ideation, we hope to offer that at least 3 times a year, and validation probably twice. But the ideation piece is people that are really early, I just have an idea, through to knowing what that problem, who they're solving the problem for, kind of spot. And then really on the validation, you're talking to potential customers, you're learning from those conversations, and you're iterating on and de-risking your business model and determining what specific features you would want to build in your solution.
Got it. Yeah. So I'd love to know a little bit more about, so what prompted you guys to do this? You've been in this, like you said, you've been in the entrepreneurship space, like an anchor in the St. Louis scene for a long time. And your mentorship program, I think, is what most people think of when they think of ITEN. So is this just to help get people off the sidelines and into the game? Is that what what prompted it?
Right. Yeah. So I think really to address, we were seeing a lot of people go actually too fast at the beginning, sort of zoom past some key really de-risking that needed to happen. And so this is helping people really slow down just enough to create, make sure they're asking the right questions, make sure they're de-risking things, not making too many assumptions, not jumping to a huge bunch of product build or spending time and energy building something nobody wants. So we spend a lot of time at the front end about mindsets, loving the problem you're solving more than your solution. It's not just like, I got this fabulous thing here, don't you want it? But learning how to listen in those early stages to potential customers, really understand their problems, and sort of slow down and create these processes that then can serve you well. Once you've mastered that process, you can just like let it loose and it'll help you get up that hockey stick curve we will all want to see in our revenue. But the passion, you need passion to be an entrepreneur and start, but sometimes that can be blinding. And so this was a way to, it's easy to preach that. And we were telling companies more, what we realized is they needed more structure. And so you're telling me that, what does that look like? What does that mean? Help me, build, put that into action instead of just, being a little bit more vague and having them have to build that process themselves.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think this is like the third time in the last couple months where this has been emphasized. And so it's funny how big of an issue it is where people get so excited about the thing that they're building that they focus all their time and energy on building that thing because it's fun, right? But not so much time on if it's really solving a problem, and which obviously that's what leads to sustainability. So for the folks who are listening to this, who maybe are really early stage, maybe they don't know some of the jargon in the startup world, you mentioned a couple of things earlier about product market fit, product solution fit. And so for those who might watch this later and say like, oh yeah, I don't know what any of this means, can you share like real quickly what those two terms are? Sure.
I think when we talk about problem solution fit, again, it's knowing the problem you're solving and for whom, and you know how to talk to those people, and you can figure out the best solution based on those early conversations. So you're really listening for what their problems are, and not here's my answer, because customers don't care about your solution, they care about their problems. So it's that mindset shift. It's really helping them figure that out, and just kind of putting something down, and then we will take it and then help you again create a structure around it instead of just saying, oh, go talk to some potential customers. Okay, I don't really know how to get to those folks, like help me. And so that's what validation will help people do, is really, how do you talk to those customers? how do you take the information that you learn and put it into action and start to see early adoption actually occur? Because the more traction you can show early, the better the conversations with investors are going to go, the more effective it is to build your team, because they can get what you're doing and see that there's a need for it, there's a market for it. And that's what product market fit is. It's truly like there's a market, because without any customers, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And that can be great if that's what your goal is. But helping people figure out how to go slow enough at the beginning of that hockey stick curve that you've built that strong foundation, and not so far that you're just like making too many assumptions and not really testing those.
Yeah. No, that's great. So how are you guys, so this new project, or not project, this new program that you're running, are you seeing, I hate to talk about COVID because it's overdone, but at the same time, I'm also wondering, like, what have you seen from your vantage point as being, as seeing a lot of early stage entrepreneurs coming your way? Are you seeing growth right now? Are you seeing more entrepreneurship? What's happening on your end?
Well, what I love about the Leanstack platform and just, the format is, Ash Murray has been doing things virtually for years. And so all of his stuff and the training we go through to be a part of that is meant to be delivered virtually. And so it felt very natural to do that in this environment. And we will continue. Validation will be virtual as we can be in the same rooms together. I'm not saying it won't be a hybrid kind of situation, but it has allowed entrepreneurs that aren't in St. Louis to take advantage of being that we had folks in Massachusetts and Connecticut and Kansas City. And so at least a handful of the 30 that went through ideation were not in the St. Louis region. And at least 3 or 4 were starting with this idea because they lost their jobs in March, and they thought, okay, this is the time. I need some help. I don't even know what the road ahead of me looks like. So that was jumped right in and were able to start iterating on their idea that they've been dealing, had in the back of their head for a while. So yeah, it's been stressful for some, but it's also been a time of opportunity. And I think we're seeing a little bit of both. So.
Yeah, I think even just anecdotally for us, we've seen a lot, especially in the last couple of months, of just people reaching out saying, who do I talk to about this? Or, a lot of people seem to be considering entrepreneurship. And I wonder if it's, doesn't seem like it's that far-fetched to say, like, okay, people are making plan Bs, they're figuring out how to make another income stream. And then there's also just folks who, maybe have lost their job and they're like, okay, maybe this is time to act on that thing I've been talking about for the last 2 years, Mm-hmm. Are you seeing, and I know you're still fairly early, but are you seeing any kind of clear themes at all about folks who are interested in this? Or is it heavy on the tech side still? Or are there people that are like, hey, I'm doing I'm trying to scale my Etsy shop. Like, what are you seeing, or if you are seeing trends yet?
I think definitely, we've been pretty much tech, though I will say people sometimes think they want to build a tech solution, and when they truly embrace knowing the problem or loving the problem more than the solution, a couple of folks realized early on that maybe tech wasn't the best solution, or a service model was going to fit them. They needed to go out and really, maybe it's just a website that is helping connect, their services, them as their expertise. So they realized that was the better way to solve this problem first, and then maybe build a tech component later. So I think, you can even come into the process sometimes thinking you're in one focus or another, or and as long as you trust the process and don't fight the process, sometimes let it kind of tell you where to spend your time and energy. It could shift on you. So I wouldn't say we've got a lot of specific trends, but yeah, it's been an interesting. We had about a third of the companies that participated in ideation weren't members of ITEN prior to. They came on in at the same time that they signed up for Eureka. So so yeah, that was exciting to see people excited about this new program, and like, and now they can take advantage of some of the other things we have as well as they move through this, like our investor readiness program. That was another reason that we were seeing people that wanted to do investor readiness weren't ready, and we needed.
Gotcha.
And this is helping build that funnel and that pipeline, and getting people in a better place to really talk to outside investors.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Getting them ready. And so as we get like close to wrapping up here before we go off the live stream, just curious, what are you excited about for 2021? Whether it's startup stuff, ITEN stuff, what are you excited about in the entrepreneurship space right now?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about, obviously about our program. I'm excited about helping Lindenwood explore a lot of different opportunities, that they're thinking really bold and exciting things I think can be happening there. Just the fact that they brought us into the fold at a time when in higher education was crazy and things were going crazy around them. They could have easily said, yeah, this is not the time, but they said, no, we want to be a part of this. We want to grow entrepreneurship here at Lindenwood, and we're excited to be a part of it, have ITEN be a part of that and help us do that. So I'm really, really looking forward to kicking off some things with them. I as much as I, of course, want to be back in person with folks, and I miss seeing each other, in our physical spaces, I think the connections, continuing to make these kind of connections that go beyond the personal space, and the fact that we're not shy now about, let's just hop on Zoom and connect over this or talk about this, all across the globe, keeping that energy up and taking all the good things that came out of what we learned how to live in this virtual world during COVID, and continuing to capitalize on that in a good way. I think it's really, really great shared learning for us ecosystem builders to stay connected and take advantage of what each other is doing in these virtual settings.
Yeah. So I guess if someone they're in that early stage startup mode, where do they go to get to learn more, get signed up, all that good stuff?
Absolutely. So itenstl.org is our website, and there's a bunch of really easy buttons. They won't order your Amazon on Instacart, but there is a button that takes you directly to the information about Eureka, the gold bar. It says applications opening now, and then we also just have our traditional, like, go click on the blue button and register as a startup. So if you're not sure about validation, or maybe that's not why you want to be a part of ITEN, you can just sign up on the blue button. But I encourage everyone to check out the validation program. Again, don't be scared if you weren't a part of ideation. You are actually going to, when you click on that application into validation, be put into the exact same environment that the ideation participants had. You'll have all the tools, you'll have all the curriculum, and all the support you need to put together a strong application. So itenstl.org, it's got all the buttons, and it's got links to my email and Mary Louise, our executive director's email, and everybody can be contacted through there. So, or you can stalk me on social media, or I'm on LinkedIn. Many ways to find me.
Yeah. All right. So if you got an idea and you want to explore whether or not you want to make it real, go to ITEN and check out the programs there. Or even if you're further along, I guess, and you need access to or support for pitching, all that stuff.
We actually, having some folks that were pivoting or just needing to reset in this COVID, whatever it was that was making them pivot, it's so much about mindsets in the ideation, even in validation. So there's components that can be helpful, I think, at any stage. So go check it out and see if it feels right to you. But yeah, so it doesn't have to be somebody that's starting very much from the beginning. Yeah.
Well, last question, I guess, actually, is there a cost?
So validation, the one that's happening in the spring, is $750 for the 12-week program. That gets you the entire curriculum. You also have student teams from Lindenwood students that will be helping you with whatever, with the market research or whatever you might need, one-on-one mentoring. We'll be working specifically to connect those 10 startups to partners in our network. So we're really going to be building this support system around the 10 that are selected for the program. Ideation was generously supported by Lindenwood and made available free of charge this time. We're going to hope to continue to do that. Also, if you are a corporation or somebody who wants to help support early stage startups being able to access these kinds of programs or connect with them and be the first early adopters, we'd love to talk to you as well, so we can
I see what you did there.
Offer these programs, because I'm sure you share that as well.
Well, cool. All right. Well, that's great. So thanks for sharing some of that information for those of you in the community that are looking to get started. So I appreciate that. Thanks again, Melissa with ITEN. We're going to take the live stream off, and we're going to open it up to some Q&A here in the private chat for those of you who signed up through the website. So for all of you watching live, we'll see you next time, actually in the new year. So